So today we'll start fifth chapter from your book Vista. Chapter Should Wizard Hit Mommy by John Updike. Here you can see the picture of John Updike. So let me tell you something about this chapter. There is no wizard in this chapter. You must be wondering that this chapter may be about wizard, and who is a wizard? Wizard is a magician, the person who knows how to perform magic. So that person is called wizard. So this chapter has a quite you see different theme and quite an interesting theme also. But there is no wizard in this chapter, right? So let's move ahead. Here is a story about the world view of a little child and the difficult moral question she raises during the story session with her father. So here you see this chapter is about a father. Here you can see telling a story to her daughter, and when he is telling a story to his daughter, she asks lots and lots of questions. In the evenings and for Saturday naps like today's, Jack told his daughter Jo a story out of his head. So you see, uh, every afternoon here, for the afternoon nap means here short sleep. The dad, here you can see the dad told story to his 2 year, sorry, not 2 year old, uh, 4 year old, I think, daughter. And he told the story out of his head. Out of his head means he did not read any book. In the picture you see him, the dad, holding a book. But in reality he never held a book. He just told the story out of his head means he made the story out of his head. That is, he imagined a story and then told that story to his daughter. So this custom of telling the story had begun when she was 2. So you see, he had started telling his daughter the story when she was 2 years old. But now that 2 year old girl had become quite young, now nearly was itself now nearly 2 years old. So 2 plus 2 is 4 years old. And his head felt empty. Now, for the last 2 years, he had been telling stories to his daughter, and you see 2 years is a lot of time. You cannot you see tell stories for 2 years. So that's why his head now felt empty. But the daughter demanded every day while going for afternoon nap, you see, stories from her father. So each new story was a slight variation of a basic tale. You see, now we have already come to know that Jack felt his head empty. Now he had no more story to tell her. So he had devised a technique to tell her stories now, because he had finished all his quota of telling stories. So now each story that he told Joe, he changed it a little bit, right? So the story basically had the same plot, but every day he changed the characters. Now let's know what was the basic plot of the story. So in each story, now after his head had felt empty, he had, you see, been cheating Joe by telling her the same story by changing characters. So this was the main plot of the story which he told her these days. A small creature, usually named Roger. Sometimes he, you see, told a story about Roger Fish, sometimes Roger Squirrel, sometimes Roger Chipmunk, right? So here you can see Roger Fish, Roger Squirrel, Chipmunk, right? So in that story, the character Roger had some problem in each story, right? And went with it to the wise old owl. So you see, the character had the problem, and in order to have his problem solved, Roger character went to a wise old owl. So the owl told him to go to the wizard, and the owl further advised him to go to the wizard, and the wizard performed a magic spell that solved the problem. So when the character Roger went to the wizard performed a magic, and the Roger character's problem was solved. So after performing the magic, the wizard would always demand some money from the character Roger, and Roger character never had, you see, the money demanded by the wizard. So the wizard would further guide him to go to a particular place, a well, and the money could be found there. So the Roger character always went to that place, found the money, and gave it to the wizard. So after that, then Roger was so happy. So you see, when the problem is solved, all of us feel happy. Similarly, Roger character felt happy, so he played many games with other creatures and went home to his mother just in time to hear the train whistle that brought his daddy home from Boston. So you see, after playing with his friends, the character, you see, would go to his home, and at that time, his father would return from Boston, and the family would take dinner together, right? And go to bed. So Jack described their supper and the story was over. So this was the basic plot of the story which Jack told Joe every day. Why he told the same story by changing the characters? Because for the last 2 years he had been telling his daughter Joe stories, and now he did not have any new story to tell to her. So that's why he had invented a technique. He told the same story of Roger by changing Roger character with different animals, and then the same plot went on, and the story ended. And at the end of the story, most often Joe would fall asleep. So that was what happened in the story. So working his way through this scheme was especially fatiguing. Note down this word fatiguing on Saturday, because Joe never fell asleep in naps anymore, and knowing this made the write seem futile. So now, note down the word write. Write here means the act of telling the story. Futile means useless. Now you see another problem arose. Jack's telling of the story did not make fall Joe asleep. Why? Because now she had become 4 years old, and now she had more curiosity. She didn't like falling asleep. You see, children fall asleep, but as we grow old, we don't like falling asleep. You must have noticed that during the afternoon, when the elderly people at family they go to bed for a short nap, children keep playing in families. So you see, now this telling stories on Saturdays had become quite tiring for Jack, because she, that is Joe, never fell asleep in naps anymore. And this made the storytelling now boring and more tiring. So Jack now didn't want to tell stories to Joe because she never fell asleep now. So the little girl, note down here, the little girl here means the little girl here, Joe, not so little anymore. Now she was not little because she was growing up physically, mentally, and emotionally. So the bumps her feet made under the covers were halfway down the bed. It means her height had grown. Earlier, she just occupied uh, even less than half of the bed, but now her feet reached, you see, more than half of the bed, right? So maid under the covers were halfway down the bed, their big double bed that they let her be in for naps, and when she was sick, had at last arranged herself, and from the way her fat face, deep in the pillow, shone in the sunlight, sifting through the drawn shades, did not seem fantastic that some magic would occur and she would take her nap like an infant of two. So now that Saturday, when Jack was sitting on the bed to tell her another story, Joe was already on the bed, and she had taken a cover on her like this, and her feet were moving. That is, the movement indicated that she had no intention to fall asleep, and her head was resting on the pillow like this, and her face was quite fat, right? And a few rays of light that were coming from the gap, from the curtains covering the windows, they were falling on her, you see, bed or face. So Jack could sense that only a magic would be required to make her fall asleep. So Jack was now kind of annoyed. He knew that Joe would not fall asleep. So earlier, when she was 2 years old or 3 years old, she would easily fall asleep. But now, even after the story was ended, she would not fall asleep. Her brother Bobby was too, and already asleep with his bottle. So you see, another family member, Jack had another baby named Bobby, or you can say Joe had a baby brother named Bobby who was 2 years younger to her, and Bobby was already asleep, right? But Joe was not feeling like sleeping. So Jack asked, so that Saturday, Jack asked, who shall the story be about today? So you see, now he was about to tell her the story. So he asked Joe, his daughter, on which character he should tell her the story that day. So you see Joe sitting on the bed, rather lying, half sitting and half lying on the bed. She started thinking. She just said this, Roger, let me think. So Joe squeezed her eyes shut and smiled to be thinking she was thinking. Her eyes opened, and you see, Joe thought for a little, and then you see, while she was thinking, she had closed her eyes, and when she opened her eyes, kindly note down here, when she opened her eyes, Jack noticed that her eyes resembled her mother's eyes. See, her mother's blue. So Jack's wife had blue eyes. Similarly, Joe also had blue eyes. So she said, after thinking, Roger, Roger, let me think, skunk. She said firmly, yes, Dad, I want to hear a story about Roger Skunk today. Right? So here you can see a skunk. Skunk is an animal found in North America like this. And one unique thing about this animal is this animal has a strange defense mechanism. And what is that defense mechanism? So whenever this animal is attacked, it has a gland near his back here, through which it sprays a very noxious smelling liquid at his attacker, and that kind of, just you see, saves him, because the smell of that liquid sprayed is so bad that the attacker just is stupefied means becomes stunned at the spray and at the bad smell. So this is the characteristic of a skunk. So when Jack heard a new animal, so this is what Jack thought. So Joe is demanding me demanding from me to tell a new story about a skunk. They must talk about skunks at nursery school. So you see, at school, the teacher must be teaching Joe about skunks. So that's why Joe had demanded to hear a story about a skunk. So having a fresh hero momentarily stirred Jack to creative enthusiasm. So you see, Jack was a good storyteller, though his store of stories had been exhausted, but he liked telling stories also. So when he heard the name Skunk, so his creative mind tried to develop a story about Roger Skunk. Because the story plot was the same, he just had to add a few more details. All right, he said. So he started telling a story. कहता, okay, Joe, I will tell you a beautiful story about skunk. So once upon a time, in the deep dark woods, there was a tiny little creature by the name of Roger Skunk. So you see, he started telling the story. You see, usually when stories are told, they start with once upon a time, right? So that is how he started. Once upon a time, in the dark, deep woods, there was a tiny little creature by the name of Roger Skunk. So you see, he added this word Roger to each animal he told Joe the story about, and he smelled very bad. I have already told you each animal has its own characteristic, so he created that in innovation, that imagination, and he smelled very bad. And you see, now Joe is growing up, so she asks lots and lots of questions. So he had only told a few lines to Joe, then Joe asked a question. Right, let's see which question she asked. No, he didn't, you see, ask, sorry, she didn't ask any question yet. She will ask by and by. So he smelled so bad that none of the other little woodland creatures would play with him. So Jack here is continuing his story. So you see, he developed on that smell characteristic. He smelled so bad, so the Roger skunk really smelled so bad. You see, when when skunks are not spraying, even then a bad smell is coming out of them because of that gland that carries the bad smelling liquid in it. So because of Roger skunk's bad smell, no woodland animal would come near him and play with him. So you see, Joe participated in that storytelling very actively. So Joe reacted. You see, Joe was rather more participative in that story than Jack himself. So Joe looked at him solemnly. Solemnly here means seriously. You see, Joe had the ability to identify herself with the animal about whom Jack told the story. So now Joe started identifying herself with skunk. So she hadn't foreseen this because this was a new uh, thing in the story. Because the other story she had heard, she she hadn't heard about smell and the animal not having any friends. So this was Jack's ability, you see, creativity, that he could make the same story interesting by adding just a few details here and there, new details. So that's why Joe hadn't minded the same story being told to her every day. So she hadn't foreseen this here means she knew the plot of the story well, but she didn't know that this type of line she would get to hear. So whenever he would go out to play, Jack continued with zest, remembering certain humiliations of his own childhood. All of the other tiny animals would cry, "Oh, here comes Roger's stinky skunk," and they would run away. And Roger Skunk would stand there all alone, and two little round tears would fall from his eyes. Here you can see the sad skunk crying. So you see, Jack had a wonderful style of telling stories. He would give it quite personal touches. So you see, he made it quite emotional. So while telling the sad scenes, he would add sadness to it by remembering his personal humiliations. You see, what is a humiliation? Humiliation is the sadness or the embarrassment or we have to feel on account of certain things in our own life. So everybody feels this humiliations. So Jack would remember his own childhood humiliations and add their intonation or their tone into the story. So you see, when those here Jack is explaining when Roger Skunk would see that other animals were not ready to come near him, so and they would run away from him, and he would become very sad when the other animals said, you see this, when the other animals you see taunted him or insulted him by saying Roger Stinky Skunk, so they would run away. So this would make Roger Skunk sad and he would start crying. So you see, uh, Joe reacted to uh, sadness in the story and the happiness in the story with her personal reactions. So the corners of Joe's mouth drooped down and her lower lip bent forward as he traced with a forefinger along the side of her nose the course of one of Roger Skunk's tears. So you see, when he was telling her ki how Roger Skunk would cry, he would put a finger under Joe's eyes and trace or drag his finger along the nose towards Joe's lips, telling her ki how the tears would fall from Skunk's eyes. Uh, so this, you see, this made the story interesting. So here you see, won't he see the owl? She asked in a high and faintly roughened voice. So you see, Joe knew that whenever the animal in the story had a problem, he would definitely go to owl. So look here is she is suggesting to her father, father, won't he see the owl? She asked in a high and faintly roughened voice. So here that is how she would interrupt the story now because she knew the plot of the story. She knew that whenever the character in the story had a problem, so the next step in the story was seeing the owl. So she here asked, Ki Papa, shouldn't this skunk go to the owl and have his problem solved? So sitting on the bed beside her, Jack felt the covers tug as her legs switched tensely. So you see now Joe reacted very emotionally. So now she is upset because the character in the story is in trouble. So she wants that character to be out of that trouble. So that's why she is suggesting Jack kindly send that character to the wise owl so that his problem gets solved. So you see, she became physically active because she became tense. I have already told you she identified herself with the characters in the story. So he was pleased with this moment. Here, kindly better note down the very indirect meaning of this line. He was pleased with this moment. Now, why was Jack pleased with this moment? So, you see, kindly note down here Jack was a man who liked dominating women. Jack, kindly note down, Jack was a kind of father who wanted to dominate his daughter as a father and he wanted to dominate his wife as a husband. So he was telling her something true, something she must know, and had no wish to hurry on. So you see, he intentionally waited here. He did not talk about the owl intentionally. He waited at this moment, you see, intentionally with the intention of, you see, giving a little bit of mental pain to his daughter with, and he also had the habit of giving this kind of mental anguish to his wife. You will come to know in later in the chapter. And he had no wish to hurry on, but downstairs a chair scraped and he realized he must get down to help Claire. Note down, beta, the fourth character in the story, Claire. Claire actually is his wife, who was painting the living room woodwork, right? So you can imagine from here, he was telling a story to Joe, and his wife downstairs was painting the living room. So if he had been a sensitive or a loving father and a husband, he would not have been doing so. He would have been helping Claire to paint, or rather, he himself would have been painting the living room woodwork. So, well, he walked along very sadly and came to a very big tree. So, he continued his story. So, here, so Roger Skunk, you see, in that sadness, slowly and slowly uh, went to a tree, and on that tree lived an enormous wise old owl. So the in sadness, in order to have his problem solved, Roger Skunk went to take the wise owl's help. So he went to a very tall tree, and the wise old owl lived on the top of that tree. So here you see good. You see here, Joe is feeling relieved that the Roger skunk has gone to the wise old owl. Mr. Owl, Roger skunk said, all the other little animals run away from me because I smell so bad. So you see, Roger skunk went to that old owl, and you see, after greeting him, he shared his problem with him. And what was his problem? That he smelled very bad. And when Owl heard it, Owl responded, so you do. I thought, yes, there is no doubt in it that you smell very bad. The Owl said, very, very bad. What can I do? Okay, you not smell bad, you smell very, very bad. So how can I help you? So, sorry, uh, it was the Roger skunk who asked advice from the wise owl ki what should I do in order to get rid of my bad smell. And he cried very hard, and then he again started crying loudly in order to gain sympathy of the wild owl. So here you see, before the owl replied in the story, it was Joe who started shouting, the wizard, Joe shouted and sat right up, and a little golden book spilled from the bed. So you see, because I have already told you, Joe knows the entire plot of the story. She knows ki the old wise owl would advise Roger Skunk to go to the wizard. So you see, out of her childishness, now she is telling Jack that the wise old owl should advise the Roger skunk to go to the wizard. And as she, you see, became excited, she was lying and she sat up on the bed. And as she sat up on the bed, a golden book fell from the bed. So here, dad became angry. Now, Joe, daddy is telling the story. Do you want to tell daddy the story? So, you see here, I have already told you that Jack liked dominating females. So, here he scolded her. He asked Joe to be quiet, and he told her it was he who was telling her the story, not the vice versa. So here you see Joe responded, no, no, I am sorry, Papa. You are telling me the story. So here Jack said, then lie down and be sleepy. So again, her head relapsed onto the pillow. Relapsed means she again lay on the pillow, and she said, okay, Papa, out of your head now. Kindly start, you see, continue the story. Well, so the owl thought and thought. At last he said, why don't you go see the wizard? So you see, I have already told you that Jack was a very good storyteller. He did a lot of acting. He just didn't tell the story, he did a lot of acting. So he produced different voices for different characters. That is, when he was telling Owl's part, he produced a different voice, and when he was telling Skunk's part, he was, you see, he would produce different voice. So now here he is continuing the story. So the owl advised Roger Skunk to go to the wizard. So here again, Joe interrupted Jack. Daddy, what? So you see here, she has a question for Jack. Daddy asks, what? Are magic spells real? So you see, children are very curious by nature, and particularly children at the age of 4, 5, 6, they ask lots and lots of questions. So now an idea came in her mind. She wanted to know whether the magic spells were real or not. So this was a new phase, just this last month, a reality phase. When he told her spiders eat bugs, she turned to her mother and asked, do they really? And when Claire told her God was in the sky and all around them, she turned to her father and insisted with a sly yet eager smile. So you see, Joe was at an age in which she asked many questions. So whenever she was told about anything, she asked lots and lots of questions. For example, uh, just you see, this month um, at her school, some new facts about animals were being taught to her. She had been told at the school that spiders eat bugs. Bugs means insects, etc. And she couldn't believe it. So she went to her mother and asked, do they really eat bugs? And you see, when Joe's mother Claire told her about God, that God was in the sky and everywhere. So again, she couldn't believe. She came running to her father Jack and asked, is it true that God is everywhere? Is he really? So she asked, is he really? So Joe was asking now lots and lots of questions about each and everything, not about the story, but each and everything. So when Joe asked her father if the magic spells are real, this is what he replied. They are real in stories. So this is what Jack replied. Yes, magic spells are real, but they are real in stories, not in real life. So Jack answered curtly. Curtly means sounding rude. Means he was giving Joe the indication that she should not ask him many questions. So she had made him miss a beat in the narrative. Why? Because frequent questioning was making him forget the story, because he was inventing the story out of his head. So frequent asking of questions was making him forget those new imaginative details that he was you see thinking in his head. So the owl said, go through the dark woods, under the apple trees, into the swamp, over the creek. Note down the word creek. What a creek here in the picture you can see this is a creek. So it's a branch of a river that separates from a river and then again taking a different course rejoins the river. So that is a creek. So the owl not only advised Roger Skunk to go to the wizard, he also told the way to Roger Skunk. He explained to him how he could reach the wizard's house. So here again you see Joe asked a question, what is a creek? So Jack replied, a little river. So over the creek and there will be the wizard's house. So and that is the way Roger Skunk went. So Roger Skunk followed the way explained to him by the old wise owl, and pretty soon he came to a little white house. And you see, following his instructions, following the owl's instructions, he soon reached the wizard's house, which was a small little white house. So as soon as he reached the wizard's house, he rapped on the door. Rapped means he knocked on the door of the wizard. So when Jack said that Roger Skunk rapped on the door, he imitated rapping. So he rapped on the windowsill, and under the cover, Joe's tall figure clenched in an infantile thrill. So you see, now Joe became more excited. So she was not, you see, near sleeping. She was rather thrilled. So you see, and then a tiny little old man came out. So you see, that tiny old man who came out of the house was none other than the wizard himself. Here you can see wizard. You must have seen wizards in Harry Potter movies, Dumbledore, the famous wizard, right? So, and with a long white beard, and he had a long white beard like this, and a pointed blue hat like this, right? And as soon as the wizard came out, he said, "Hey, what's it? What you want? You smell awful." So the wizard said this because you see there was bad smell coming out of Roger Skunk. So even wizard had to hold his nose with his fingers to avoid the smell. And you see here Jack producing special effects using a different accent. So the wizard's voice was one of Jack's own favorite effects. So here Jack gave an effect to the voice. He did it by scrunching up his face and somehow whining through his eyes, which felt for the interval roomy. So you see, he made a lot of effort. And when he made this effort to produce the wizard's voice, uh, water came from his eyes. Rumi means watery. He felt being an old man suited him. So now Jack, since he had become quite old, he thought that he could play the wizard's part better, right? "I know it," Roger Skank said, "and all the little animals run away from me." Right? The enormous wise owl said, "You could help me." So you see, when the wizard complained that he was smelling very badly, Roger Skunk admitted, "Sir, I know, that's why I have come to you. I smell very bad. That's why I don't have any animal friend. So please help me." And the wise owl has advised me to come to you, and you can definitely help me. So the wizard replied, well, maybe. Yes, yes, let's see what I can do for you. Come on in. Okay, come inside my house. Don't get too close, but please keep the distance. Not because of coronavirus, because he smelled very bad. So now inside Joe, there were all these magic things, all jumbled together in a big dusty heap because the wizard did not have any cleaning lady. Again, here, beta, note down. He has mentioned here cleaning lady. So indirectly, Jack's prejudice against women. So he believed that ladies were fit only to do the cleaning part. Here, so you see, when uh, Roger Skunk went inside uh, the wizard's house, or rather the room, he found so many things there in disorder. They were not in order. So you see, wizards require their books, magical books, their potion kettle, flying broom. Then you see so many magic wand. You see, wizards have magic wands, so many other things. So they were all lying up in heap. And he also mentioned his house was dirty in disorder because he did not have any cleaning lady. So he is again, you see, expressing his uh, disgust against women. So here Joe asked a question, why? Why? Because he was a wizard and a very old man. So you see, Jack tried to answer. He did not have a wife because he was a wizard and wizards usually don't marry, and because he was a very, very old man. So here again, Joe asked another question. Will he die? You see why Jack asked this question? Because here Jack mentioned that the wizard was very old. So you see, when one is very old, the next thing that happens to him or her is death, right? So that's why Joe asked a very intelligent question. Will he die? So Jack said, no, wizards don't die. Well, he continued the story. Well, he rummaged around and found an old stick called a magic wand and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. And Roger thought and thought and thought, and he said roses. So you see, inside the house, the wizard found out his magic wand, and then he asked from Roger Skunk, okay, what kind of smell he liked, right? And what kind of smell he wanted to emit. So Roger Skunk thought and thought, and then he said, sir, could you make me smell like roses? So let's see, what did the wizard do? Yes, the wizard said, I can do anything. Yes, good. So Joe said smugly. Jack fixed her with a trance like gaze. So here again, you see, more excited than Roger Skunk was Joe. So Joe here became very excited. Yes, good. She's happy because now Roger Skunk's problem is going to be solved. So Jack, you see, again felt angry because she was interrupting him again and again. And you see, chanted in the wizard's elderly, irritable voice. So Jack continued his story. Now he will be doing the acting of the wizard. So the wizard pointed his magic wand at Roger Skunk and chanted this incantation mantra. And here, beta, it doesn't make any sense, but still we'll read it. Arbacadabry, hocus poo, Roger Skunk, how do you do? Roses, bosses, pull an ear, Roger Skunk, you never fear, bingo. And when he had said this mantra, a light flash came out of the magic wand and stopped. There was a flash, there was a lightning from the magic wand, and he paused as a rapt expression widened out from his daughter's nostrils. So you see, when at this moment an expression appeared on Joe's face, and this expression was an expression of total surprise. And you see, her nostrils had widened, forcing her eyebrows up and her lower lip down in a wide, noiseless grin. And here, you see, out of happiness, Joe was grinning. Grinning means smiling broadly, an expression in which Jack was startled to recognize his wife feigning pleasure at cocktail parties. I have already told you somewhere uh, in the previous explanations that Joe resembled her mother a lot. So here, Joe again was looking quite like her mother. And Jack remembered that expression usually appeared on his wife's face at cocktail parties. And the same expression was now visible on Joe's face. And all of a sudden he whispered. So he continued the story after noticing that resemblance between Joe and his wife. He continued his story. And all of a sudden he whispered, the whole inside of the wizard's house was full of the smell of roses, right? So, and after the magic, sweet smell of roses started coming out of Roger Skunk, and the entire house of the wizard was full of rose smell. So here Jack made a mistake. He forgot that he was telling the story of Roger Skunk. So by mistake he said Roger Fish cried, and the wizard said very cranky, that will be 7 pennies. So you see here, when the elders are telling stories, or whenever we are speaking, there is a slip of tongue. So here Jack also made that same mistake, that in place of saying skunk he said Roger Fish cried out of happiness, and the wizard said very cranky. And now after performing the magic, wizard asked money from Roger Skunk, and he said that will be 7 pennies. So you see, he demanded this much amount from Roger Skunk. So you see here, Jack had made that mistake. Children are very smart. You see, they are more observant than the grown up ones. So Joe noticed the mistake, so she stopped him again. Daddy, what? Roger skunk. You said Roger fish. Daddy, you made a mistake. You are telling me the story of Roger skunk, not Roger fish. Yes, skunk. So Jack admitted his mistake. You said Roger fish. Wasn't that silly? So you see, she said to Jack, Daddy, you have become silly. You forgot that you were telling me the story of a Roger skunk. So you see, Jack admitted, very silly of your stupid old daddy. Where was I? कहता sorry beta, I made this mistake. I have become old, and with old age I have become stupid also. Now you tell me, where was I? Well, you know about the pennies. Say it. Okay, Roger Skunk said, but all I have is 4 pennies. So you see, Roger Skunk only had 4 pennies, and he began to cry again. So you see, this Roger character cried a lot. For every little thing, he started crying. So now he started crying in front of the wizard that he did not have 7 pennies with him. So Joe made the crying face again, but this time without a trace of sincerity. So you see, when Jack told her that Skunk started crying, Joe also made the crying expression on her face. But this time it was not sincere. So this annoyed Jack. So you see, again, Jack got annoyed with Joe. So downstairs, some more furniture rumbled, and you see, he at this time heard his wife, who Jack heard his wife painting the living room wooden material. So Claire shouldn't move heavy things. She was 6 months pregnant. It would be their third child. So you see, we come to know from this information that Claire was pregnant, and still he was allowing her to paint. She should rather be resting, and this was going to be their third baby. One was Joe, who was 4 years old, another was Bobby, 2 years old, and the third one was on the way. So the wizard said, oh, very well. So the wizard, you see, went close to now Roger Skunk and pacified him. Oh, very well, go to the end of the lane and turn around 3 times and look down the magic well, and there you will find 3 pennies. So the wizard guided Roger Skunk to go to a particular place, and there he could get the rest of the 3 pennies. So hurry up. And he asked him to hurry up. So Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times, and there in the magic well there were 3 pennies. So he took them back to the wizard and was very happy. So you see, he succeeded in finding the 3 pennies. He brought those 3 pennies and gave them to the wizard, and now he was very happy. Why was he happy? Because his bad smell had been changed to the smell of roses, right? So he ran out to the woods. So went back to the forest, and all the other little animals gathered around him because he smelled so good. And quite interestingly, other animals, they found now that Roger Skunk was smelling so pleasantly, so they came close to him and they became friends. And they played many games together. They played tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse. Here you can see, beta, this is a game that is played using these instruments. Here in India we don't play this game, so that's why I have, you see, uh, pasted this picture here so that you can get an idea. So hockey, soccer, and pickup sticks. So these things they played, and now Roger Skunk was in heaven. He had lots and lots of friends. Here you can see Roger Skunk surrounded by all types of friends. And here is the magic well from where he found the 3 pennies. So here Joe asked another question. What is pickup sticks? So it's a game you play with sticks. Here you can see the children playing games. There are sticks, they pick the sticks up. So like the wizard's magic wand. So Joe asked another question. The sticks with which the children play the games, are they exactly like the stick of the wizard? So Joe asked this question from Jack. Jack said, kind of. And they played games and laughed all afternoon. And then it began to get dark, and they all ran home to their mommies. So you see, they played for many, many hours. And in the evening, everyone had to go back to their home, to their mommy. So the skunk also went back to his mommy. So now Joe was starting to fuss with her hands and look out of the window. So at the crack of day that showed under the shade, she thought the story was all over. So here you see the story usually ended. So all the other stories that Jack told Joe, they ended with Skunk going home. So here also Joe thought maybe the story had ended. So she started, you see, making movements. Maybe she was feeling bored that the story had ended so soon. So here Jack didn't like women when they took anything for granted. So you see here again we come to know that Jack didn't like women. So he liked dominating them. So he didn't like those women who took things for granted. He liked them apprehensive. See here, it is directly written. He liked women to be apprehensive. Apprehensive means fearful, worrying, worried, hanging on his words. And he liked women to depend on him. That is, he wanted women to, you see, feel his importance. Now, Joe, are you listening? So you see, he continued his story. He is inventing this ending of the story from his side with a particular intention. And what is that intention? He wants Joe to think bad of all the mothers, particularly her own mother. So here uh, Jack scolded Joe, stop moving and kindly listen to the story. The story has not ended yet. This is what he meant. Yes. So Joe said, yes, Papa, I am listening, because this is very interesting. And he said, now pay attention. I am going to tell you a very interesting part of the story. So Roger Skunk's mommy said, what is that awful smell? So you see, when Roger Skunk reached home, Roger Skunk's mommy got angry at the rose smell that the skunk was emanating. So she, in anger, asked from her son, what is that awful smell? So you see, Roger Skunk got scared. What? What? And Roger Skunk said, it is me, mommy. I smell like roses. So no, kindly note down this. What you see here is from Joe. So Joe was surprised. Why the skunk's mommy is asking such a silly question. She should rather be happy. And let me here tell you, Jack intentionally is telling this part of the story which he has invented from his head in order to make Joe feel bad about mommies. So he is kind of, you see, setting Joe against her mom. So he continued story, and Roger Skunk said, it's me, mommy, I smell like roses. So Roger tried to explain to his mommy that the smell is coming out of me, right? And now I smell like roses. And she said, who made you smell like that? Right? And she further expressed her anger. And she didn't seem happy at all. And she said, who changed your smell? And he said, the wizard. And you see, Roger Skunk explained to her how he went to the wizard and how the wizard performed a magic. And she said, well, of all the nerve, you come with me and we are going right back to that very awful wizard. And the mommy further got angry, and she said, "How dare he change your smell? Right now you come with me, and we are going back to that wizard who changed your smell." So you see, the this part of the story had the desired effect on Joe. Joe sat up, her hands dabbling in the air with genuine fright, right? So Joe got quite upset. "But daddy," then he said about the other little animals run away, her hands skittered off into the underbush. So you see here, she is expressing her anger. Her, you see, she is not in favor of the mother behaving like that. She wants Jack to, you see, say something to the mother in the story. Uh, you see here, Joe is trying to defend Roger Skunk. His changing the smell was right, because whenever he went to play with other animals, they ran away. By changing this smell, the other animals had become his friends. So it was a good thing, right? And you see her hands skittered off into the underbush. Underbush means झाड़ियों के नीचे, where the skunk family lived. Here, Jack is very happy that, "All right," he said, "but mommy, all the other little animals run away." And she said, "I don't care. You smell the way a little skunk should have, and I am going to take you right back to that wizard." And she took an umbrella and went back with Roger Skunk and hit that wizard right over the head. So here, the Roger Skunk tried to explain and pacify his mother by explaining that, "Mom, this change of smell was a good thing for me." But the mom didn't listen to Roger Skunk. She she said to him, "Look, a Roger Skunk should smell like a Roger Skunk. Now I want you to come along with me. We'll go to the wizard, and right, we'll have your smell change back." So she took her umbrella from the underbush. Underbush means घास के नीचे से, झाड़ियों के नीचे से. And both of them, you see, went back to the wizard's house. And when the wizard came out, the Roger Skunk's mother, just hit the wizard on the head. And you see, this action was not liked by Joe at all. Joe said no, and put her hand out to touch his lips. And she tried to, you see, stop Jack from telling the story. Yet, even in her agitation, did not quite dare to stop the source of truth. So inspiration came to her. Then the wizard hit her on the head and did not change that little skunk back. So you see, before Jack could continue the story, Joe said this sentence: "Ki, this is what should happen next." So when Roger Skunk's mother hit the wizard on his head, right? So the wizard hit her back with his magic wand. So this is what you see, uh, Joe said. So it is quite clear that Joe did not like this ending, and Jack intentionally wanted this to happen. "No," he said. The wizard said, "Okay," and Roger Skunk did not smell of roses anymore. So Jack here corrected Joe. "No, Joe, you are not telling the story. I am telling the story. I will tell you what the end is." So you see, the wizard uh, listened to the Roger Skunk's mother's complaint, and he said he would change Roger Skunk's smell again. So the wizard again performed a magic, and he changed the Roger Skunk's smell into bad smell again, and he smelled very bad again. Right? So here you see Joe is getting very upset with this kind of ending. And actually she is thinking about Roger Skunk because this is not the right ending. But the other little animal, oh, Joanne, now kindly note down, beta, Joe's full name is Joanne. It is daddy's story. Shall daddy not tell you any more stories? So you see here, Joe is objecting to this ending. She doesn't like this ending. She wants the ending to be changed. And she is insisting on Jack to end the story differently. She wants the Roger Skunk's smell not to be changed into bad smell again. But here, Jack, you see, again scolded Joe. He said to her, "It is daddy's story. Look, I am telling you the story. If you behave like this, I will never ever tell you any more story in future." So her broad face looked at him through sifted light, astounded, and she was very much surprised at the ending. She didn't like the ending of the story. This is what happened then. Roger Skunk and his mommy went home and they heard woo woo, and it was the choo choo train bringing Daddy Skunk home from Boston. So you see, after Roger Skunk's smell was changed into bad smell again, both Roger Skunk and his mother went back to their home, and then the train from Boston came bringing the father skunk, and then the father reached home. They had lima beans, celery, liver, mashed potatoes, and pie oh my for dessert. And when Roger Skunk was in bed, Mommy Skunk came up and hugged him and said he smelled like her little baby skunk again, and she loved him very much. And that is the end of the story. So after they ate the dinner, it was bedtime. Roger Skunk went to bed, and before he fell asleep, the mother skunk came to him. She hugged him and she said that he was now looking better with his original smell. And she also, you see, told him that she loved him very much. And that is how the story ended. So here you see, when the story was ended, Joe asked Daddy some questions. But Daddy, what? Then did the other animals run away? No, because eventually they got used to the way he was and did not mind it at all. So you see, Jack here tried to make the ending good, because his main aim was to prove to Joe that mommies usually are stupid. They take stupid decisions, and Joe had started believing that definitely mothers were not good. So you see, he tried to make the story uh, end like this. The other animals now did not run away from Roger Skunk's bad smell, because now they came to know that it was a usual characteristic of the Roger Skunk. So they accepted him as a friend. And what is even Shiladi? He asked. She asked in a little while, right? So he even told her this meaning. Even Shiladi means in a little while. Okay, that was a stupid mommy. So you see, this is what Joe said, and Jack was very happy that she had started believing that mommies are stupid. So, but here you see, he could not say it in front of her. He could not agree to her. He tried to defend Roger Skunk's mommy by saying this. It was not. He said with rare emphasis, and believed from her expression that she realized he was defending his own mother to her, or something as odd. Now I want you to put your big heavy head in the pillow and have a good long nap. So he adjusted the shade so that not even a crack of day showed, and tiptoed to the door in the pretense that she was already asleep. So you see, he tried to defend Roger Skunk's mommy. No, she was not a stupid mommy. She did the right thing for her son. And you see, he tried to make it appear as if he was defending all the mothers, including his own mother. But in reality, he was not doing so. And you see, after he had answered all the questions of Joe, though Joe was not fully satisfied with the or with the answers, he told Joe to now sleep, right? So he adjusted the curtains so that no ray of light would come and distract her. And after, you see, tucking her in the bed and after adjusting the curtains, he went, you see, downstairs to help Claire with the paint. And let's see. But when he turned, she was crouching on top of the covers and staring at him. But you see, before uh, descending the last stair, he looked at Joe again to see whether she was sleeping or not. And when he did that, he found Joe sitting on the bed. And then he shouted, "Hey, get under the covers and fall fast asleep. Bobby is asleep." So he told her, "जल्दी सो जाओ, तुम्हारा भाई already सो रहा है." But instead of lying down, she stood up and bounced gingerly on the springs. So you see, she stood up on the bed and she started jumping. "Daddy, what? Tomorrow I want you to tell me the story that that wizard took that magic wand and hit that mommy." So you see, Joe was really upset with the ending of the story because wizard had done a good thing and yet he had been beaten by Roger Skunk's mother. So she now expressed a desire, and what was that desire? She requested her father to tell him a different story the next day that would end with the wizard hitting the mommy with his magic wand. So her plump arm chopped forcefully, and she also, you see, showed her how the wizard would hit the mommy. She did that acting with her own arms. You see, acting like hitting the wizard, hitting the mom right over the head, and I want the wizard to hit the mommy on the head. So here you see Jack again try to, you see, act. No, that is not the story. No, no, he said, no, this type of story should never ever be told. The point is that the little skunk loved his mommy more than he loved all the other little animals, and she knew that was right. So Kenta, no, this can't happen because Roger Skunk loved his mommy and he would not, you see, want anybody to hit his mommy. So other animals were not important. The mother was important. So he got his smell changed again for his mother's sake, not for other animals. So if the Roger Skunk had loved other animals more than his mother, then any other type of ending was feasible, possible. But here the point is Roger Skunk loved his mother more than anybody else. So that's why he got his smell changed and he didn't mind it. But here again, Joe was not happy with this answer. "No, tomorrow you say he hit that mommy. Do it." "No, Papa, I want you to tell me the story tomorrow that would end with the wizard hitting the mommy. Kindly do it for me." So she kicked her legs up and sat down on the bed with a great heave and complaint of springs. And you see, she was upset and she the wanted to hear another story tomorrow, the next day, in which the wizard would hit the mommy on the head. So as she had done hundreds of times, so she was complaining and jumping while sitting on the bed, except that this time she did not laugh. She did this type of action earlier also, but that was in fun. But now this time she was upset, so she was jumping up and down. "Say, Daddy, please, please, Daddy, you see, promise me that tomorrow you will tell me the story in which the wizard would hit the mommy." "Well, we'll see." Kehta, "Okay, okay. I'll see tomorrow. Now at least have a rest, please. Now sleep. stay on the bed, you are a good girl, now sleep like a good girl. Tomorrow I will see whether I should tell you that story or not. So he closed the door and went downstairs, and Claire had spread the newspapers and opened the paint can, and wearing an old shirt of his on top of her maternity smock, was stroking the chair rail with a dipped brush. So you see, when he reached downstairs, he saw that his wife had already spread newspaper on the floor to save it from spoiling from the drops of the paint, and she was already painting the chairs. Above him, footsteps vibrated, and he called, Joanne, shall I come up there and spank you? So you see, downstairs he could hear Joe jumping up on the bed, and then he shouted at her from downstairs, Sleep, or I will come and beat you. So at hearing this, Joe stopped. So the footsteps hesitated. That was a long story, Claire said. So Claire, you see, kind of complained, and this is what she wants to say. You have come after a long time when I have finished painting almost everything. So means she's kind of asking Jack, why have you come so late? Was your storytelling so long, or did you take intentionally so long to finish the story? So this is what the his wife asked. So the poor kid, he answered, and with utter weariness watched his wife labor. So you see, after he had shouted at Joe, and after she had, you see, uh, kind of, you see, covered herself in the bed covers. So he now started paying attention towards his wife. Now, you see, what did he observe downstairs? That his wife had been working very hard, and she was kind of tired. So the woodwork, a cage of moldings and rails and baseboards all around them, was half old tan and half new ivory, and he felt caught in an ugly middle position. And though he as well felt his wife's presence in the cage with him, he did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. So you see, now downstairs, the paint work was going on, and half the room had been painted and half was unpainted. So you see, he felt as if the room was like a prison, and he, along with his wife, had been, you see, imprisoned in this prison. Means he didn't feel free. There was a burden of responsibilities on him, marriage responsibilities on him. For example, you see, he was forced to tell stories to his daughter, who now no longer went to sleep listening to his story. And beta, these lines also imply maybe he was not happy living with his wife. He felt like a prisoner. You see, here, pay attention. He felt caught in an ugly middle position, and though he as well felt his wife's presence in the cage with him. So you see, this life which he was living, it appeared to be uh, uh, devoid of any freedom. He felt like a bird prisoned in a cage. Cage here you can see. So this is, you see, that is how he felt, and he did not want to speak with her, and you see, he did not want to talk to her wife, work with her, touch her, anything. So he was quite unhappy in this married life. So, but yet he was forced to continue living like this. So that's it. The story ends here.